Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be doing our review of Chapter 4 for Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief. Now, in this chapter, there's not a whole lot that happens. Right now, Percy, his mom, and Grover are beating down the roadway down to Camp Half-Blood, fleeing some kind of creature that's chasing them. There's something in the sky that's following them along, and Percy's just kind of freaked out about what's going on. Apparently, everything that's been happening to Percy so far is in fact real, that there really are monsters, and Percy's still trying to get over the fact that his friend is a donkey. Now, that was a big mistake because when Percy mentions that to Grover, he's like, Satyr, Percy. Fawn, half goat, half man. Come on, dude. So, we got that little bit of going on back and forth with the friends, just a little bit of annoyance that Percy's like, You're a donkey. I gotta admit, as a kid, I laughed at that. That was pretty good. Now, let me just say that it's a kind of a bit of a chase. His mom has to make a hard right turn because something leathery with wings lands in front of them, but Percy doesn't get a good view. That's one of the Furies. And right behind them, stopping is a big man with his hands raised for some reason. Now, looks like they're going to get, they can't have played all right until they get struck by a bolt of lightning out of nowhere. Now, it is storming, so I guess it is possible, but the fact that you hit your car, that's kind of rare and random. Hits the roof, sends it flying into the bank. I don't really think that lightning does that to cars, but I guess it does in Rook Redorians. I've never been struck by lightning, so I can't really say for sure. But regardless, they're in the ditch and they're having to pound on the doors to get out. Eventually they are, but Grover unfortunately is knocked unconscious. So Percy and his mom drag in unconscious Grover as they're running from the dinged up car. And up the hill, Percy notices that the man with his arms raised doesn't really actually have his arms raised because his hands are at the side, and what's above his head is actually horns and there's a furry head on the creature, making Percy think that this is the Minotaur. Now, he's about to say that when his mom cuts him off, telling him that names are powerful, so don't say the creature's name. But we gotta run up the hill before he smells us because he has horrible eyesight and horrible hearing. So they start making their way, and the Minotaur gets to the car, shakes it around, realizes they're not in there, and sends it flying and destroys the car completely, causing Percy to remember that his stepdad had told him not to scratch. Well, he didn't do a scratch, he just busted the whole thing. So, hey, if you're going to damage something, at least do it the Percy Jackson way and completely destroy it. So, mission accomplished, I guess, on that one. Now, they're trying to get up the hill. The Minotaur sniffs him out finally, and he rushes towards them. Quickly, his mother tells Percy that they need to dash to either side as he charges at them because he can't turn well. And no sooner has she told us, but the Minotaur comes charging straight at them. At the last second, they jump apart as he charges right through where they were. Percy's mom yells to Percy that he needs to get across the border. He doesn't care about them, so they'll be fine if he just leaves. So, listening to his mom, Percy makes a mad dash up the hill and crosses the border. Now, at this point, the Minotaur, instead of chasing after Percy like he was expecting, turns around and goes after Percy's mom. And Percy's mom tries to dodge out of the way, but doesn't really work. The Minotaur scoops her up and then starts to crush her into golden dust, killing his mom. Now, full of rage and passion that he just saw his mom get murdered in front of him, Percy charges down the Minotaur, grabbing one of its horns and yanking it free from the creature's head and stabbing into the Minotaur's side, killing the bull. It was a bit more action within that scene, but that's pretty much what happens. As the bull disintegrated, Percy grabs Grover and starts lugging him across the border because he had saw there was a big house down the valley with some lights on, so he's going to drag his friend over there. And just as he gets there, he starts to pass out when he notices that there's an old familiar face and a cute looking girl with some blonde curls standing above them. And then he passes out. Now, in the scene, there's a couple things I want to talk about. Percy's mom mentions that names are powerful and they're very important. And true, throughout the series, we see that play out, but I wish we would see the impact more. That if you say a Dark Lord's name, that will summon him to you, or if you shout a holy creature's name more, or if you use it in a spell or incantation. Maybe I'm just not remembering. It's been years since I've listened to the Percy Jackson or even read Percy Jackson, but I felt like Percy Jackson didn't really appreciate the names, or at least use them as well as they should have. Like, names have power. That was drilled into our heads, but we were never really shown any spells that use names or names to ward off evil, or when Percy would accidentally say a name, we didn't get like a sense like the room get darkened. I'm just saying that maybe I'm just misremembering, but I feel like that's a falling on Rick Dorian's part for not having that better built up within the series. Kind of like when Percy was using that magical spell with his hand gesture, we never really see Percy or anyone else use that for the rest of this book series. It was a good chapter overall. Percy is now leaving his old world and entering a new one. He's starting the hero's journey. The catastrophe hit. His mom is now gone, and he's now lost, and he has to pretty much start a new life. His old one's gone. There's nothing that he can go back to. So what Sally had originally feared, that she'd never see her son again, well, kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy now that she's now dead and Percy is in Camp Half-Blood, so probably never going to get to see him again. Now, overall, pretty good chapter. I think everything in this chapter should be in the show, at least to some variation. Maybe not for every bit and detail, but I feel like at least the majority of it should be in the first episode. What do I say the first episode? Because honestly, if we're going to be real here, the museum trip, that'll be done within a few minutes. His time at school is going to be just a passing shot. His time with Gabe is going to just be a little bit. And the time on the beach, you might have a little bit of a conversation, but I don't expect much. So really, this should all be taking place in the first episode. Could be taking place in the first two, but I really doubt it. We want to get this thing going on, and a smart way to move it would be have these 4 chapters within that one episode. So with that said, moving forward, we're going to be doing 4 chapters each one of these reviews. That way we can stay up to date with the show, and when the show comes out, we can do our comparisons on what actually came through. Was I right that most of it would be, or did they cut a lot of stuff out? So, but hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like and a comment and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. You take care now. Bye.